Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to go on a tour of the Bleu bag, or the secondary critical care bag. Just a quick little background. So the reason that we split the critical care equipment into a black bag and a blue bag was to try and focus a lot of the gear and equipment that we would most likely need immediately on a scene into that first in bag, the black bag, which is in another video, and relegated everything else into the blue bag, the stuff that you would rarely ever use, or you would need either down in the truck after you get everything set up, or if you had a little time to actually go back down and grab it. So we'll go through this, and if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. I can change the video up to include any answers to those questions if needed. We'll start at the top here. So everybody's favorite, or I hope at least if you have a sense of adventure, is the cricothyrotomy kit. If you have ever opened this up or went through training or did the cadaver lab, you kind of know all the little bits and tools that are in here. This one is a little bit different than the one most of you have seen. The next time we have a cadaver lab, we are gonna get this new one and you guys can open that up and see. The light is actually a piece that's left over from regulatory standards, from a previous regulatory body that we used. I keep it in here just, I don't know, for nostalgia. And then there's some extra batteries in here. The regulatory body that we have now does not require us to have a light in here. Here is the hypertonic saline. It should always be covered in the pink plastic and labeled. It's also labeled hypertonic 3% saline on the bag. So as always, if you're gonna give somebody medication and something's going into somebody's body, check the label first, but you will know it's hypertonic saline most of the time since it's covered in that pink solution, or pink plastic wrap. Next is some spare 100 ml normal saline bags and a spare 500 ml. So both of these items in these quantities are in the black bag. If you end up using the ones in the black bag, you can come in here and restock the black bag for critical care calls that you do later on in the day that you need the first in bag for. Here is a bottle of nitro. Since we recently went to nitro bottles on the ALS trucks, you can find one of these in the ALS trucks up in the cabinet. But if for some reason you need a second one, or if you want to take one in on a critical care call, you can grab it out of here. Here are 4 spare full sets for the IVAC pump that we're currently using. So if you use the ones out of the black bag, you can come in here and grab your spares. Next to it is 4 spare half sets for the IVAC. If you use your half sets in your black bag and your first in bag, you can come in here and replace those. This takes the place of just the Ziploc bag that we used to use for spare pumps that was just kind of sitting in the cabinet. This organizes it a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to keep everything contained so it's not just sitting around. These things come from the last bag that we used to use. This is a chest drain with a little butterfly valve on there. So if you do a chest tube, or if you want to needle somebody's chest, you can use this, and that way you know that air is coming in and not going, or coming out and not going in. These are orogastric tubes. There's plenty of these in the truck and in the airway bag. So the idea was sort of that if we went into a hospital a while back and they were intubated, or they need to be intubated, and you'd do that in the room right there, and they didn't have a orogastric tube, you'd have one available that you can just put right in. We'll come over here. So this extension tubing is in the side pocket. This bag doesn't have the U of M adapter or the Fairview adapter, which is in all of the other bags. We have 4 of those currently. I'm working on getting a 5th, 6th, and 7th just for spares. But this one, you can attach your vent to this side, and then this side will go into the wall at North or Abbott. And there are a couple others that I can't remember, but if they have that hexagonal shape after you take the regulator out, this one will fit into that wall. So it's nice to have just in case your patient is on a high FiO2, or if you don't have a lot of oxygen left. It's nice to have if you think you might be waiting around for respiratory therapy, or additional oxygen or room placement, something like that. It really is a great thing to have in your pocket if you're going upstairs. I put it in here partly because I had a little trouble finding room in the black bag. If you have any ideas for that, certainly let me know. But in most cases, when we're taking people up to the floor, that D tank is going to be just fine getting them up to the floor, and then we can switch them over. So I sort of felt that we would use it so rarely that it can be in the secondary bag, but I really do recommend taking it in a lot of the time just in case. You never know what's going to happen up on the floor. So if you come into the other side pocket, this is the Doppler. So all of these should have a 45-year-old Doppler, plenty of these little pockets of the lubricant for the gel for the Doppler, and then some headphones, just so you can wear those while you're trying to find a heartbeat, so the mom doesn't get a lot of anxiety just waiting for the heartbeat to come over the speaker there. So the last pocket that has anything is this front pocket. This is the PEDS tube pocket. We have PEDS stylet, PEDS bougie or flex guide. There are a couple suction catheters, smaller ones, a 3.0 mil endotracheal tube, a 2.5 mil endotracheal tube, and a 4.0 millimeter endotracheal tube. Now currently our medical direction and quality assurance is only letting Metro Critical Care change tubes. So if for some reason, if a pediatric tube has a broken cuff, or if you need to put in a cuffed tube, you can put the bougie down the tube, get good placement, take the tube out, put a new tube on, and then you're good to go. They are not currently, by protocol, letting Metro Critical Care intubate PEDS patients, and that might be something that we can discuss in the future, but that's currently what their expectations are. So that's really it. So there's a couple pockets that are not being used, this front one for example, and the back one. And my hope in getting these kinds of bags and getting extra space was that we could add items or equipment to it, like ultrasound eventually. This would be, if we can get one that is relatively space efficient, we can put one in here, and we can use that at hospitals or on scenes, whatever the medical directors feel that it would be best used for in critical care. So that's it for the Bleu bag, or the secondary CC bag. If you have any ideas to add to this, change it up, please let me know. We can always discuss it. Nothing is static. If there's a better idea out there, let's bring it forward and we can figure out the best way for everybody. Thanks.